What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rip back with another week of Wednesday Wisdom. This week I wanted to briefly talk to you guys about how it is believed that everybody has an addiction to something or everybody's an addict. That's just not my personal belief, but that's the belief in a few books I've been reading. Two of them are Breathing Underwater by Richard Rohr, and then When You Love Too Much. This is by Stephen Arterburn. This is actually a really good book. I haven't read this one yet. I just started it. This one I read all the way. This is a really good book. And we got Sammie in the mix. But I'm actually on the verge of releasing a new music video called my Who Is Rip music video with featuring Katie Scullin. It's a very deep and personal music video, and it kind of touches. It's kind of about not just myself, but everybody kind of breaking free from past addictions, hurts, hang-ups, and habits, which is kind of the Celebrate Recovery way of looking at things. You know, hurts, hang-ups, and habits. Celebrate Recovery is a recovery group, kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous, which was actually founded, which actually has biblical or Christian-based roots. You know, they follow the 12 steps, and then that's what this book, Breathing Underwater, is about. It's about looking at the 12-step recovery program from a faith-based standpoint, which I think is cool personally because that's my belief. So, but I'm releasing my new Who Is Rip music video, and it's kind of it's all about kind of being tied up and bound to past hurts, hang-ups, and addictions, and that's kind of the symbolic reason of being chained in this music video. Me being chained to a tree. And it's kind of all about breaking free from that. And so I thought it'd be cool and symbolic to talk about that, since I'm on the verge of releasing that music video. It'll probably be out actually in the next couple of days from the release of this video. And one thing that kind of spawned this video as well is I've seen a lot of people lately kind of hating on people with addictions, when really they might be addicted to something as well, you know, in some form or another themselves. And it's kind of like the whole thing about judging, you know, why look at why do you see the speck in your brother's eye when there's a plank in your own eye, parable type thing. And like, what makes your sin greater than mine, or what makes your hang up, better than mine. I've seen people on Facebook really getting down on people because they've died of a heroin overdose or something, and I don't think they really truly understand addiction. So I think addiction is something that all people should really take a look into and really understand it. Like I said, there's all types of addictions, and one addiction doesn't make another one greater than another. So that's kind of another reason why I wanted to kind of address this issue as well, because it's kind of been weighing on my heart. I think it's cool that people recognize that they have an addiction, and that because it makes things a lot easier. It makes things easier when you can actually identify that you have an issue, because then once you identify that you have a problem or an addiction or an issue or some sort of hang up or something, it makes it a lot easier for you to acknowledge it, and then that way nobody can use it against you. And then you can also use it in a form to empower you, like, well, that's where I used to be, that's not where I am anymore, I'm growing. So I think it's, once people can really learn to identify with that, I think it help them take steps to better themselves and to use it as a tool where nobody can use it against them anymore. So this book, When You Love Too Much, this is a good book. This is about people addictions. It's about people with sex addiction, people with love addiction, and people with romance addictions. There's a lot of people out there who are addicted to attention, romance, relationships, and all kinds of things, sex, and all kind of people addictions. This book is really good. It also briefly goes over some of the other addictions, like anorexia, bulimia, gambling, substance abuse. It touches on those, but it really is really stating that just all addictions stem from people's childhood. It's gratifying when you're able to identify something or work on it, and then this way you put it in the past and be like, that's not me anymore. So this is a really good book. I highly recommend this one. I read this one all the way, but I wanted to read something quick. I wanted to read a quick part of this book, Breathing Underwater, which is recommended by multiple people in my Celebrate Recovery support group. This is written by a I believe he's a pastor, and like I said, it's a faith-based step to the 12-step program. So in the very intro, he says there's 4 assumptions about addiction. And number 1, we are all addicts. Human beings are addictive by nature. Addiction is a modern name and honest description for what the biblical tradition called sin and the medieval Christians called passions or attachments. They both recognize that serious measures or practices were needed to break us out of these illusions and entrapments. In fact, the New Testament calls them, in some cases, exorcisms. They knew they were dealing with non-rational evil or demons. That's one assumption. Number 2, still thinking is the universal addiction. Substance addictions like alcohol and drugs are merely the most visible form of addiction. But actually, we are all addicted to our own habitual way of doing anything, our own defenses, and most especially our patterned way of thinking or how we process our reality. The very fact that we have to say this shows how much we are blinded inside of it. By definition, you can never see or handle what you are addicted to. It is always hidden and disguised as something else. As Jesus did with the demon at Gerasa, someone must say, "What is your name?" Luke 8:30. The problem must be correctly named before the demon can be exorcised. You cannot heal what you do not first acknowledge. So that's hopefully what this video is doing, is helping shed some light on to the belief that I personally believe and other people believe, that everyone is addicted to something in some form or fashion. Whether it's success, even career, work, social media, electronic devices, something. Everybody has some sort of hang up or addiction. Number 3, all societies are addicted to themselves and create deep codependency on them. There are shared and agreed upon addictions in every culture and every institution. These are often the hardest to heal because they do not look like addictions, because we have all agreed to be compulsive about the same things and blind to the same problems. The gospel exposes those lies in every culture. The American addiction to oil, war, and empire. The church's addiction to its own absolute exceptionalism. The poor person's addiction to powerlessness and victimhood. The white person's addiction to superiority. The wealthy person's addiction to entitlement. And number 4, the 4th assumption about addiction that this author makes: some form of alternative consciousness is the only freedom from this self and from cultural lies. If the universal addiction is to our own pattern of thinking, which is invariably dualistic, the primary spiritual path must be some form of contemplative practice, once just called prayer, to break down this unhelpful binary system of either-or thinking and superiority thinking. Praying is changing your operating system. This was well recognized in step 11 of 12 steps. When religion does not move people to the mystical or non-dual level of consciousness, it is more a part of the problem than any solution whatsoever. It solidifies anger, creates enemies, and is most always exclusionary of the most recent definition of sinner. At this level, it is largely incapable of its supreme task of healing, reconciling, forgiving, and peacemaking. When religion does not give people an inner life or real prayer life, it is missing its primary vocation. Let me sum up then the foundational ways that I believe Jesus and the 12 steps of AA are saying the same thing, but with different vocabulary. We suffer to get well. We surrender to win. We die to live. We give it away to keep it. This counterintuitive wisdom will forever be resisted as true, denied, and avoided until it is forced upon us by some reality over which we are powerless. And if we are honest, we are all powerless in the presence of full reality. So I just wanted to share that with you. Like I said, I'm on my Who Was Hurt music video should actually be out in a couple days. So if you guys check that out, go to my YouTube page, check that out. It's all about just pretty much breaking free from your past, finally breaking free, seeing the light, and breaking the chains of things that have got a grip over your life, because they can be really imprisoning, really. They really can. And once you can acknowledge that, and you can recognize that, and you can take steps to break free from that past, man, I feel it can be very gratifying and liberating. It really is. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys this week. Make sure you guys tune back in next week. And I'd like to thank you guys all for tuning in. I appreciate it greatly. I had some people tell me that these videos are very helpful for them. So shout out to you guys. If you guys have any questions or any requests for future videos, feel free to let me know. But other than that, we'll see you guys next week.